One city, one wall, one final breach. For 1,000 years, Constantinople stood unconquered. Then, in a single morning, it fell. This is the day the world changed forever. In 1453, Constantinople was no longer the center of an empire, but it was still a symbol, the last remnant of Rome, the final wall between East and West. And one young ruler wanted it more than anything. By the mid-15th century, Constantinople was a shadow of its former glory. Once home to hundreds of thousands, it now held barely 50,000 people. Entire districts lay abandoned. Marble columns stood in empty fields, palaces crumbled slowly into dust. Yet its walls still stood. The Theodosian walls had protected the city for centuries. 3 layers deep, reinforced by towers and moats, they had turned back every enemy: Arabs, Persians, Bulgars, Crusaders. To the outside world, Constantinople looked weak. To history, it still looked invincible. Outside the walls stood Mehmed II, Sultan of the Ottoman Empire. He was only 21 years old, but he was not impatient. Mehmed had studied the city obsessively. He read Roman histories, he questioned engineers, he calculated angles and distances. For him, Constantinople was not just a prize, it was destiny. He ordered the construction of massive cannons, weapons so large they terrified even their creators. One of them, known later as the basilic, could fire stone balls weighing hundreds of kilograms. For the first time in history, the walls faced an enemy they were never designed to stop. The siege began in April 1453. Day after day the cannons fired. The ground shook, towers cracked, dust filled the air. Defenders rushed to patch breaches with wood, rubble, and earth under constant fire. Inside the city, Emperor Constantine knew the truth. There would be no relief army. Western Europe had promised help, but none was coming. Still, the defenders fought. Greeks, Genoese mercenaries, and civilians stood side by side. Every night, they repaired the walls. Every morning, the bombardment resumed. The city was dying, slowly, loudly, inevitably. As weeks passed, food ran low. Hope followed. On the night of May 28th, church bells rang across Constantinople. For the first time in centuries, rival Christian factions prayed together. Enemies knelt side by side. They knew the end was near. Emperor Constantine addressed his soldiers. He did not promise victory, he promised honor. Outside the walls, Mehmed prepared his final assault. Before dawn on May 29th, the attack began. Wave after wave of Ottoman troops surged forward. The defenders fought desperately. Fire, arrows, and blood filled the breaches. Then, somewhere along the walls, a small gate, the Kirka Porta, was left open. No one knows exactly how, but through it, the Ottomans poured in. Once the enemy was inside, the walls no longer mattered. Emperor Constantine now threw off his imperial insignia and charged into the fighting. He was never seen again. By sunrise, Ottoman banners flew over the city. The bells stopped ringing. Constantinople had fallen. After more than 1,000 years, the Eastern Roman Empire was dead. The fall of Constantinople did not just destroy a city, it ended the Middle Ages. It reshaped trade. It changed religion, power, and history itself. Empires rose, others vanished. All because, on one morning in 1453, a wall finally broke. Subscribe to History Scribe for more stories about the moments that ended worlds and created new ones.